Hello and welcome to the Stew with JT Brew. I'm your host, Justin Taylor, alongside my co-host, Bryan Toast Clark. Another edition of NHL Around the Ice is on the way. Stick with us as we talk all things hockey. Welcome again. Thanks for joining us. We are now, in case you've just seen the show for the first time in a while, we are now partnered with Total Apex Sports. So make sure you check out their YouTube page, go subscribe, follow them, like, comment. Also, you can always find our info, find our show, all our stuff also at the Stew at JT Brew on YouTube, Spotify, all those different places. We'll have the show downloaded for podcast after the show tonight. So, Toast, thanks for joining us. Valentine's Day. Got a little edition here of NHL Around the Ice. Got a good show for you. All kinds of stuff we're going to go through today. But let's start things off. We've got a little betting segment we've been kind of doing on Total Apex Sports Bets, going on there every day, putting out our hockey bets that we like. Let's talk about some of the stuff we put out there today and some of these Valentine's Day bets we got going.
Yeah, JT. Hey, before we get started, you wearing a Buffalo Wild Wings jersey?
Oh, you got to look at this side. So this is my new Missouri hockey jersey. Just got it in. So they just won they're not in the Division I hockey, but they play in a club league. They just won the club championship on Sunday. My jersey that I ordered for Christmas just got here the day before. So I wore my jersey on Sunday for the Super Bowl and for the championship. The Tigers brought it home, Cup champs. So pretty excited for those guys, and wanted to wear the jersey on the show tonight. So got my name, number 4, Taylor, on the back. So I'm loving this jersey. I'm probably gonna end up having to buy another one. They've got a really cool white one and a really cool yellow one with the tiger head on it. But yeah, I'm pumped about this jersey. Pumped for Missouri. Love to see them eventually get a D1 hockey team. Don't know if that will happen, but the club team's awesome. Good guys to watch. Fun team to watch. So we like all hockey here, not just NHL hockey. We love college hockey as well.
Yeah, JT, I think I'm going to get absolutely destroyed by our small but rabid fan base tonight for saying that's a Buffalo Wild Wings jersey. It looks just like it on the shoulders, but it's cool. I love it.
It's got the tigers up on the shoulder.
Yeah, it's nice.
If you can kind of look at it, it's got like kind of the tiger stripes on there and everything. It's a pretty sweet jersey, man. It took a while to get because it's a smaller website that makes them, but I'm pretty happy with the finished product.
Yeah, and you talk about college D1 programs. Really, we're not that far from I'd say D1 college hockey haven per se, and Illinois, University of Illinois, kind of where we're at here. They've talked about having they've also have a club team. They've been talking about getting a D1 program for some time, which would probably require getting a new ice arena. But they should do it. They really should do it. And actually, Mizzou coming in. It's a rabid fan base up north in the Dakotas. The Minnesotas, and actually over into North New York as well. And honestly, I think college hockey,
Michigan, Ohio,
they could do a lot more to actually build their brand. Quite frankly, I mean, if they just go ahead and extend south a little bit, I think that would be I've been wanting to watch. There's lots of draftees, on the Hawks, maybe on the Wings, and other teams that you'd like to watch play, or potential entry draft targets that are coming up. So I want to see those games, and that would be awesome if we could actually have them right here in our backyard.
Yeah, they talked about putting an ice rink here in town. It was actually on the ballot. They were going to add a hockey rink, try to make the move to D1. All that happened before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
COVID kind of put a rearing stop to that. I'm hoping that didn't totally kill the project, and that's still going to happen because it would be awesome. The club team's been really good here at Illinois for a long time. Those games, if you've never been to them, super fun to go to.
Right.
Really good time. But yeah, if they can make that move up to D1, get into the Big Ten with the likes of Minnesota, Michigan, Ohio, it would be awesome. I think it would be great. I know you and me would be signing up and getting tickets for sure. So I hope that happens here. I hope that happens here in the near future. That'd be great.
They'd kick us out. There's no doubt about it. We'd act like fools in there. Hey, before we go any further, congratulations on 20 episodes. I was just looking at that. I'm like, man, has it been 20 already? Time flies when you're having fun.
That's right. Yeah, 20 episodes of NHL Around the Ice. Make sure to also check out the stew during football season. I bring out all kinds of football content. So if you're a fantasy football fan as well, I will have all kinds of off-season content, rookie mock drafts, all that kind of stuff going on here. But this is our Wednesday segment. Our Wednesday segment is always hockey. So Wednesday we take over and we
That's
do the
right.
hockey segment. Me and you toast here. So yeah, 20 episodes. Been fun so far. Look forward to keep it going for the rest of the season.
Yeah, here's a 20 more. And, so I'm pretty pumped, JT. Plus, I love doing Wednesdays. Wednesdays is great. You're right in the middle of the week. It breaks it up. Plus, there's always a small slate on Wednesdays. So, if we choose to actually talk about those games, we don't have to feel like we have to touch on everything. So it kind of works out perfect, really.
Yeah, talking about that smaller slate here on Valentine's Day on Wednesday. Let's jump into some of the bets we love. Some of our ones we like today that we kind of talked about in our Total Apex Sports Betting article that we come out. Usually comes out in the early afternoons every day. So make sure to go check that out. Total Apex Sports Bets.com. That's where you need to go to find our NHL articles. And if you're on X, we usually turn around and we repost those every day. So you can always check out some of our best bets, player props. And in addition to that, we usually will put out our toast takes, which are kind of like some different parlays, some different prop bets we like, some different stuff. So usually the article kind of gives you like the leans, stuff we kind of like by the numbers. And then we'll kind of on the toast takes, we'll put out our specific bets that we're putting in as well. So always try to check out both those things. But yeah, Toast, jump in. Let's give some people some of the bets we're looking at for, during tonight's games.
Yeah, so games are in progress right now, but let's go ahead and go over them. Actually, so far, bets are looking fairly good. Panthers at Penguins tonight. That was a 6:30 start, and it was two bets that I really recommended there on Toast Takes today, and it was the under 6 total goals, and that's not going to go, which I was pretty surprised because this has actually won 5 goals. Total goals are under 8 out of the last 12 matchups, and neither team's actually really been scoring of late. But nevertheless, Panthers, all the scoring has been done in the second and third period. It's a 5-1 game right now. So that bet part is actually dead right now. But what did hit was my second part of that bet, another single bet, and that was a Sidney Crosby anytime assist at plus 105. That hit. That actually went, and Crosby has actually been on fire. The kid's been in fuego so far, man. That's 11 points in his last 12 games right now and racking up a whole lot of assists in that span. So, at least one of them actually hitting that one, JT. And I tell you what, the next one, which I loved, was San Jose at Winnipeg tonight. And hey, believe it or not, San Jose's been playing a whole lot better of late. Winnipeg's been struggling out of the gate after the All-Star break. They're just struggling to score. They had actually scored only 12 goals in their past 10 games actually coming into this game. And wouldn't you know, guess what? I was kind of right on that one tonight. I bet the under alternate goal total is a 6.5, and it's 1-0 in the third. And the Jets have put up a crap ton of shots on goal. And Kakkonen, who's actually in goal for San Jose tonight, he's been sharp. I picked him up on our home league night to spot start him against Corey Jensen. Sorry, Corey, but he's going to give me a ton of points tonight. And the other one was the San Jose Sharks alternate puck line, JT. Plus 2.5 at minus 138. The Sharks have actually won 3 out of the last 5 games. So, and what you know, the Sharks are hanging in there tonight.
Yeah, that 1-0 is really nice on that. So we were hoping they stick there. I took the 2.5. That was the bet that I was on. I liked it. The one that got me, I actually took the alternate in the Pittsburgh Penguins game. I actually had the under 6.5, and just now a 7th goal was scored. So that one's dead for me. I had the under 6.5 along with the plus 2.5 on the Sharks line. So the Sharks is looking good in that one. But yeah, like you said, the Jets have not looked good lately. The offense has been struggling. I love the under in that one. I like where your head was at on that one, taking the under. And I really like the Sharks plus 2.5. I mean, you could get them at only minus 130 at plus 2.5. I loved it, especially like you said, they've won a lot of games lately, and they've been playing everybody close, kind of like we've suggested the last couple of weeks with the Chicago Blackhawks. We've been on there like, hey, if
Yes.
you can get 1.5 goals, 2.5 goals in some of these big games, they've been sticking with people, and they've been right there in that mix. So I love both those bets from you.
Yeah, and JT, I'll tell the listeners the bet I actually end up going with tonight. I kind of put together a can't lose bet. Well, I don't know if it's actually being a can't lose after all. I went ahead and did under 8 goals for the Panthers Penguins just to make sure, like at a minus 575, put it with a parlay. Because if you look back, I mean, forever and the way these goalies have been playing for Pittsburgh with Nedeljkovic and also Jari in goal, and also Bobrovsky has actually been pretty sharp as well. And neither has actually been scoring a bunch right now. You'd expect the under 8 to be unbelievably safe. Here we are actually at 7 goals with still 12 minutes left. I wouldn't say I put $1 million on it, but I put quite a bit on that. And I parlayed it together again with the Sharks. Instead of 2.5, I went 3.5, and that's going to go. So, I mean, honestly, if this doesn't go, this is a little bit of snake bitten there. But hey, that's gambling for you.
Yeah, and I like where your head was at on all those. Those totally made sense. So, like I said, make sure to check those out every day on our bets. We try to get those out. Me and you kind of combine on those bets we like
Yes.
from the show for days. So we kind of put those out. So make sure to check those out. Anything else on the books for tonight, bet wise, or no?
Yeah, the last game of the night, it actually is just a puck drop 7 minutes ago. There's 7 minutes in, there's no score, but that's the Wild at the Coyotes. And technically, most people actually would have said, hey, let's jump on the Wild here on the money line because they've been rolling here and the Coyotes haven't. But I don't know, it felt like a trap game to me. I want to stay away from the money line on this one. But what I did actually like, again, it was go back to the well one more time, was Brock Faber, the young defenseman star actually for the Wild, the hottest rookie in the league, 9 points in his last 10 games. The majority of those actually being in the assists. And I had him for right tonight as an anytime assist is still plus money at plus 114, which is really crazy. I can't believe that. They've been a really, really hot team. He's been doing assists almost every single game, and it's still plus money. That's crazy. Then, hey, we'll take a stab, right? But Eriksson Ek and also Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov for Minnesota, also for anytime goals. They're anywhere between 130, plus 130 and plus 160, but they've been scoring goals in bunches as well of late. And Arizona's been giving up quite a bit. So that evening game wasn't as exciting or I guess as enticing as the first 2 games, but again, did not expect Florida Panthers at Pittsburgh Penguins to be putting up the amount of goals they're putting up right now. They need to just shut it down right now. But there's only 17 shots on goal by the Panthers tonight, JT, and only 22 by the Penguins. And there's 7 goals right there. There's no goaltending going on right there.
It blows my
much worse
mind.
lay somebody down in the crease.
Yeah, it's like I say, it blows my mind how few shots have been in that game, but yet how many goals have come out of that one. So that one's crazy. So let's jump on to our second topic of the evening: past number 1 draft picks. Man, some of these guys are growing up and starting to perform like we thought they would when they got picked. The 2020 number 1 pick, Lafreniere from the Rangers, forward. 2021, Owen Power, Buffalo defenseman. 22, Slavkovsky, as I like to try to butcher that one.
You did good.
Montreal forward. And then this year, 2023, Connor Bedard, Chicago forward. All 4 of those guys, we're starting to see it from them. Bedard getting ready. We saw some video of him taking some slap shots today. Hopefully he's going to be back here pretty soon because he was off to a great start in his rookie year here for the Blackhawks. He'll be back soon. But some of these guys are starting to actually show up, and they're starting to become fantasy relevant.
Yeah, they really are. So 2 of these guys I really want to touch on is really Alexis Lafreniere, which JT, if you remember right, we got him in a dynasty league in a trade. It was a steal, in my opinion.
It was a steal.
Anytime you have a chance to get a number 1 overall draft pick, maybe in only year 3 of their entry level contract, and somebody's willing to actually trade them for, I wouldn't say nothing, but also too, in a grand scheme of things, being a dynasty league, you got to jump on that. And I don't know what we end up giving up, but I'll be honest with you, what we gave up wasn't nearly actually what we got back because this guy's going to be a mainstay in our lineup for a while. Plus, let's talk about cap leagues with the Lafreniere. He's in a 2-year, the first year of a 2-year, $2.3 million bridge deal. So what a sweet contract this guy actually has. But let's go over a little bit of his stats here. Man, Lafreniere, and I'm going to talk about a guy, Slavkovsky, as well. They both start off very similar. I mean, slow. I mean, Lafreniere actually had no time really. He came right from, I think, the QMJHL, and really didn't have any time in the OHL, WHL, AHL, and come right into the league. Very, very young at the time. And, he struggled out of the gate. Only 12 goals the rookie season. This is what was really alarming in his rookie season, JT. Only 67 shots on goal in 56 games from a number one pick overall. Yeah, one shot a game. So, But hey, 2021 wasn't that much better. 19 goals, 12 assists, 31 points in 79 games. Started to shoot the puck a little bit more, 110 shots on goal. And we saw it pick up a little bit last year. He gets to 16 goals, 23 assists in 81 games, and he shot 135 times. Again, still not enough. But guess what? This year, so far through 53 games, he's actually got 14 goals, 17 points, 31 points in 53 games. Everybody's like, well, that's kind of average. Hey, he's unbelievably young right now. He's 22 years old. And what the best part about him right now, JT Lafreniere, 140 shots on goal through 53 games. That means he's starting to feel comfortable. He's shooting the puck. He's going to end up pacing for well over 200 shots on goal. He's starting to figure it out. 22 years old.
Yeah, Toast. This is a perfect example of a guy. Not everybody's going to hit right away. Some of these guys are going to take some time. You also got to look at a guy like that, man. Moving to New York, 19 years old, being on the Rangers, that's going to take you a little while to kind of adjust. I mean, that's a big difference from a kid like that ends up in New York City. It's a huge way. I used to live in central New York. I've been to New York City plenty of times. Man, that's an adjustment for anyone, much less a 19-year-old kid in the NHL. Not all these guys are going to hit right away. We've seen it where, it is 22, 23, 24 before we really see some of these guys come into who they are and who they're going to be. To me, when we got that deal to trade for him in our dynasty salary cap league, I was all about it. You said something to me. You're like, hey, should we make this move for him? I'm like, absolutely. I'm like, this is the perfect time to get him. If we would have got him as a rookie, we would have had to pay a ton to get him. Yep. And then instead, we wait till somebody else is a little tired of him. He hasn't hit quite yet. And that's when you could turn around and all of a sudden you're like, now we can take advantage. Now we can trade like a couple picks, some players that we wanted to get rid of for a guy that was a number one overall pick. To me, it was a great move by us. I love it. And this is for fantasy managers. This is what you need to look for. Some of these young guys that maybe don't hit right away, the talent's there. You don't go number one overall if you're not just loaded with talent. It just doesn't mean you're going to come out and be the guy right away. If you're willing to take a chance on a guy, that's the time to buy when other people are down on them. They thought they were going to get instant return. It didn't happen. They're tired of waiting. You can make a move and get them. To me, if you can do that in a lot of situations, I think that's the move. We had done that with Jack Hughes in another league that we were in, where we got him after he didn't have a very good rookie year, and people kind of were down on him. We got him way later than he went the year before in drafts. I mean, we got him deep in drafts, and me and you talked about it before we took him. I was like, hey man, we're taking a guy that was a number one overall pick last year that went like 6 rounds ahead of where we're drafting him last year. I'm like, this is a steal at this point this year. And you know what? It worked out because now all of a sudden he's been injured lately, but he's had a really good year, solid year last year, and was on pace for a pretty good year this year until the injury. So sometimes you got to buy those dips when you can. You got to make sure you pay attention. And again, people get tired of guys sometimes. People get frustrated and they're not willing to wait on guys. And sometimes you just got to make a move.
Yeah, absolutely. And, he's not a guy that's going to drive play by himself and really make everybody around him better. Kind of like some of the players in the league can, some of the superstars where they just, they make everybody excel around them. But he's definitely somebody who will play second fiddle to a really great player. And he does that with Artemi Panarin and also Vinny Trocheck on that line. That's a really good second line. He only gets power play to 2 deployment, but it doesn't really make a difference at all. They score so much on that line. He actually benefits from Panarin and Trocheck so much, and he's making the most of it. And now, only 22 years old, I don't think he's going to go anywhere anytime soon. Plus, he'll throw a hit around every once in a while. He averages over 100 hits a season. That's a lot from a guy like that. He's 6'1", 185. All right, 6'1's pretty good. 185 pounds really isn't a whole lot there in the league when you're actually carrying a 6'1 frame. So for him to actually be averaging over 100 hits a year is pretty impressive. That's good for those banger leagues.
Absolutely.
And JT, the other guy I want to talk about was the 2022 number one overall pick for the Montreal Canadiens. There was Slafkovsky, and you did a pretty good job with the pronunciation. But man, look at Slafkovsky's rookie season last year: 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points. Now 39 games. You know, he didn't play but a half season, but only 42 shots on goal. That's pretty awful. It's pretty bad. But he was only 18 years old last year. 18. Yeah. He's a Finnish player. So this guy actually came.
Yeah, a guy trying to find his way. Yeah. You know, you got to get on that team, figure out how he fits in, how he slots in with the team. And sometimes that just takes time with some of these guys.
Yeah, and I said he was Finnish. I'm not sure about that. I think that may be in a bit. Nevertheless, he didn't actually play in your traditional OHL, WHL. He was an overseas player. So their stats are kind of a little skewed in the junior leagues coming over. But nevertheless, it's a real slow start. But hey, this year, all right, it's nothing that's going to like jump off the page at you. But 11 goals, 16 assists, 27 points in 53 games, and 82 shots on goal. But the good thing about it is since December 21st, something changed with him. And I tell you what really changed, the fact that he started playing with Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki. And when that happened on line one and power play one, JT, he's got 19 points in 22 games, 9 goals, 10 assists. Enough where I actually picked him up in our home league and picked him up a week and a half ago. He's been scorching hot. And he's shot 18 times in the last 5 games. That's a ton for him in comparison to his career. So he's still on his entry-level contract. Like I said, he's only 19 years old, but tell you what, that's a target in a dynasty league. This is a guy to like a bruiser in front of the net. He actually had that low net presence, be a pest there in front of the goalie, wait for those rebound slap shots. And honestly, 19 years old, but here, look at his frame, man. 6'3", 238 pounds. And a guy actually is not bad on his feet. So, I mean, he's going to be in the league for a hell of a long time, only 19 years old.
Yeah, for how, not great the Canadiens team is, that first line's actually a really nice first line.
Very good.
Caulfield, Suzuki's been great this year. I know we talked about taking Suzuki point. I think it was yesterday in there. So
it hit.
It hit. That was on our bets. So definitely check us out. We've been on fire lately. I don't know what the total is, but we got a really good hit rate the last week on these individual bets. But yeah, him and Caulfield, I mean, that's just a really nice young unit that could be together for a long time. I really like all 3 of those players.
Yeah, and honestly, as well as I do, Montreal is really not known for the scoring. They've always kind of just been that very vanilla team. It's really, really hard to watch at times, but that's 3 really good players on the top line and really young. Caulfield, super young. Suzuki as well. So it's a young line. And I like what they did this year in Montreal. They sold off Sean Monahan. And I couldn't believe what they ended up getting for Monahan when they actually got a first-round pick in return for him. I mean, okay, Monahan's a nice player, but first-round pick and actually also some change to kind of go with it. I love the fact that they understand that their record at Montreal isn't awful, but they know they're not winning nothing this year. So they're still kind of in sell mode. And they're kind of really, they're coming out of the rebuild and they're kind of actually getting super young and they're still actually adding by actually selling some pieces. I love that. So kind of like what's happening in Montreal, man.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Let's jump on to our third topic of the evening. Alexander Ovechkin. He's back.
Yeah,
we were talking about him earlier in the year, struggling. I mean, we had some bets on him where I couldn't believe that he didn't even get a shot off in some of these games. We were like, what has happened to him?
Yeah.
What is going on? I know in our preseason show, one of the bets we liked was him over. I think what was it, 350 shots on the season, or was it all the way to 400? But we were on there because we figured he was just going to shoot all year long, trying to break the record. He really just was not the same player early on, but we're starting to see the guy that we've come to know and love in the NHL. 38 years old. He's fighting for the all-time goal record. Wayne Gretzky, nobody thought would ever break it.
Nope.
894, currently sits at 836 behind Gretzky's 894, 59 goals away from being the greatest all-time scorer in NHL history. Toast, let's get into the resurgence of Ovi here, man. It's been something to see, and I'm glad to see he's back in action and starting to make some moves again.
Yeah, you mentioned shots on goal having a couple of goose eggs this year. He's had 4 of them, and you have to go all the way back to his rookie season where he had 1. I mean, that was in 2005, 2006.
It's
so
crazy,
you ever
right?
You ever see that movie like Invasion of the Body Snatchers? It's like
Yeah.
damn near doppelganger. Like somebody came in and stole Ovi. Like seriously, I'm like, so I think he started off the season 0-0 on the shots on goal. Then he came out in the third game of the season and had 14 or something. I don't know. It was a lot. I remember me and my brother Gail were actually betting him at the very, very beginning, or you were as well.
Yeah, I was taking him like every night. I was like every night I'm taking overshots with the overshots. Yeah. I'm like, what is happening here?
But I wouldn't say he's total back Ovechkin, but he's starting to look a little bit more like Ovi. And since the 30th of December, he's got points in 14 of 16 games. Now, in that streak, he's only got 1 multi-point game. So let's not say he's setting the world on fire, but he's starting to slowly come back. He's got goals in 5 straight. That's more like the Ovechkin we actually know. So the Capitals, as well as I do, JT, they're not that good. All right.
They're not good.
They're not that. In that span since December 30th, they've lost 12 games. All right. So I tried to trade for Ovi in our home league with Jeff Daylor. And of course, Daylor, being stingy Daylor, got to steal all the good players, doesn't want me to actually have any. I offered him Trevor Moore. In my mind, that wasn't a bad trade considering where Ovi was, but Daylor was smart. He didn't actually buy it for that. I would have actually been willing to give up more than Moore. And Moore's actually having a really good season for the Kings. But he denied the trade. He's probably glad he actually did because Ovi's starting to kind of now feel it. He's starting to kind of look like the old Ovi there. So I don't know. Right now, one thing that's got me a little worried about Ovi still, though, is the fact that you look at his line mates, JT, as Dylan Strome, TJ Oshie. They're not bad players. They're not elite players. And Oshie's old. That's an old roster. They don't have anybody young around them in that entire locker room. Everybody's aging really at the same time. And what he needs is a young superstar to actually complement him and actually kind of help him get over the hump here and end up getting that goal because he's not an ability at 38 years old. He's still a great player, but he can't do it all by himself. And he's pacing for the lowest shot total he's had in a long time. This guy usually is, like you said, well over 300 shots on goal a year. He's pacing for like 275 this year. So that's a little concerning as well. But you got to like the little resurgence here of Alexander Ovechkin. You got to believe that the Capitals, they're going to make sure he gets that record in the Capitals jersey, and he's not going to actually play for anybody else. I mean, he's 38 years old. When he's actually done, he's going to hang it up. It's going to be as a Capital. There's no doubt. But they need to get him a little bit of help next year, and I think they actually know that in order to go ahead and make this a little bit of an easier transition.
Yeah, I think, usually in this situation, we would be talking about, okay, who's going to trade for him? Who needs an aging star that can give a little boost in the playoffs, can help him try to win a title? That usually be what we'd be talking about in this situation. But we're not because the Capitals aren't going to get enough for him, and they want that record in a Capitals jersey. They
that's
want
all
that
they care
all
about.
time. They want that record with him in a Capitals jersey. They want him to be a Cap for his whole entire career. I mean, you put a guy up there like Gretzky, Gretzky played for a lot of teams. Oh, he's only played for the Caps. They want that record to be theirs. So usually we'd be looking for a trade here, but that like you said, I don't think it's any chance that happens whatsoever.
No. And JT, what do you think about okay, Ovi could really maybe break this record, but who do you kind of like that's in the league now that, hey, let's put it forward 10 years from now, right? Like who could maybe challenge this record again?
Yeah, the thing for me is, we never thought Gretzky's record would be broken, right? I mean,
No.
people looked at that and were like, "There's no way anyone's breaking that." So the fact that Ovi's even uh, inching towards it is pretty, spectacular. And as he gets close, I think we're gonna really, everybody will come out with the stories. They'll have everything going, and people will really realize like how crazy of a record that is when he breaks it. But man, if I'm looking at goal scorers and I'm thinking a guy who could have a long career, who could score at a high level, has a chance to be on a good team for most of his career, the guy that jumps out to me is Austin Matthews from the Toronto
Yeah.
Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
He's the guy, if I'm thinking about a guy that could possibly challenge us in the future, could he get 20 seasons in on a good Maple Leafs team with solid talent around him? I mean, the guy scores goals at a crazy pace. So he's the guy, if I'm looking at it, he's the one I'm saying, hey, he's got a long way to go. Don't get me wrong. A
Sure.
long, long way to go. But if I'm looking at somebody in today's game, he's probably the guy that I would look at and say he would be the guy that maybe has a chance down the road.
Absolutely. Um, so 341 goals. I was just looking up here. 531 games. He's a guy. I mean, if you average it out, he's probably having 45 goals a year. But recently, he had a down season 2 years ago, and he came back last year. I think put up 60. He's on pace for over 70 this year. I don't know who the last person actually scored over 70 was. We'd have to go back and look. I know that Brett Hull, Bobby Hull's kid, Brett Hull for the St. Louis Blues. He used to put up in the mid 70s, high 70s. He's done that several times early in his season or in his career. But this is a guy that we haven't seen a goal scorer like this since Ovi, honestly. I went back to the league, JT, just now is kind of scrolling through the standings and trying to figure out like a player. Like, I think he's the only one. I think he's the only one that actually scores at that pace that would have a shot. This guy is a goal scoring machine. McDavid scores in so many ways. If he's actually great at goal scoring, but he gets so many assists. Heck, you see that last night? McDavid got 6 assists in a game. Six damn
crazy.
apples. I mean, 6 apples, ridiculous. But
that's crazy.
So right now, I was looking at an article here, JT, and at this pace, they said Matthews would need to have about 13 more seasons to break it. He'd be 39 years old. Just think about that. That puts it in perspective how great Ovechkin's been.
Yeah, he would be right where Ovi is, and he'd have to average that pretty much the whole way. I did just look up last 70 goal scorers. You're going to like this. You were right. Cole was on there, 91, 92.
Yeah, like 76, guys, right? Like, I don't
he
know
had 70. He had 70. 2 guys after that season, they had it in the same year, 1992-93.
Oh, that was Jágr.
McGillney and Teemu Selanne.
Oh, Selanne was a rookie that year, I think.
They both had 76 goals in 92-93. That was the last time 2 guys the same year. Can you imagine getting 76 and not winning the top goal scorer because you tied another guy with 76?
No. I mean, that's
insanity.
I want to say that
Hull was 91-92, and he actually had a monster 3-year run. Yeah. And I totally forgot about this. 89-90, he had 72. 90-91, he had 86. 91-92, he had 70. So he had 3 straight years. He had a 3-year span there where he scored basically almost 250 goals in 3 years, which is just insanity. I mean, that's what was I was at 140 plus 80. So yeah, 220. So yeah, he was over 220 goals in 3 seasons.
That's a career. That's a career right there in 3 seasons. And I know the goals were a little bit bigger then. The goalie pads were a little bit smaller then, right? I mean, so, but still, you can't take away all of that from those players. They were fantastic. But man, Austin Matthews has a chance to really do some pretty awesome things, man. Hey, before we go on to the next segment, I wanted to let you know that Panthers-Penguins game did end at 7 goals. So I'm actually still alive on that one. And the Minnesota Wild actually scored, and Joel Eriksson Ek has a goal. And
Boom.
he was actually one of our guys, and Kaprizov assisted on that as well. So liking the way that's actually going so far. The bets are really, really rounding out. The Jets end up holding on 1-0. That under and the Sharks +2. I mean, all of that actually went. It was a low-scoring game, kind of like you and I actually thought. And that was a goalie battle right there. But yeah, it's been pretty good on the betting front so far tonight.
Yeah, you know what I like to say, Toast? We should have put $1 million on it.
Should have put $1 million on
it.
The shirts.
Should have put
print
$1 million. Should have put $1 million on it. Hey, before we move on to the next topic, we will go to Gretzky, just showing how dominant he was. 80, 81, 82, 82, 83, 83, 84. Those 3 seasons, he had 92, 71, and 87 goals. And then skipped a year, and then 84, 85, he had 73. So in a 5-year span, he went over 70 4 times with 190. 1 year he went for 92, and 1 year he went for 87. So that's telling you what kind of average, what kind of pace you got to be at to get a
JT,
record
why don't
like
you
that.
tell the listeners, and a lot of them probably know, about the assists and the total points in like a 4-year span he had. It's unbelievable.
What he had? Oh yeah, I mean
this is like video game stuff, guys.
Oh yeah, when he was going, I mean, it was just what he was scoring in that span here. I need to actually look it up here. I'll look up the total.
Well, because the assists,
it was absolutely crazy.
I want to say that 92 goal season, at one of those seasons close, he had like 163 assists. Think about that, 163 assists. That's 2 assists a game, not counting the goals. He's actually averaging 3.5 points a game. That'll never be duplicated. The domination will never be duplicated.
So Toast, I just pulled it up. This is a courtesy of Hockey Reference.
Yeah,
great place to go there to check him out. So going back to 79-80, his first year in the league, Gretzky, 79 games played, 51 goals, 86 assists, 137 points. Rookie year. Then comes out year 2, 55 goals, 109 assists, 164 points. His third year, 21-year-old season, 21. 80 games played, 92 goals, 120 assists, 212 points. Put him on my fantasy team right now. Oh my God.
You don't need a full roster. He won it by himself.
212 points. Insane. Then he comes back the next year. Okay, 22, just had
down season, JT.
Seasons. Yeah, down year. He doesn't make 200 points. He goes 71 goals, 125 assists, 196 points. 196 points. Then the next year, at just he goes 200 again, 87 goals, 118 assists, 205 points, and then 84, 85, 73 goals, 135 assists, 208 points. Just when you think it's not enough, the next year he dips all the way down to 52 goals, worst in his career since his rookie year, but he gets 163 assists.
Yeah, there you go.
163 assists. 215 freaking points. 215 freaking points. That's insane. The next year, it's just crazy. 62, 121 for 183. He never goes over 200 the rest of his career. That at 183 was the lowest in 6 seasons at that point. He was 26 years old. That was the second to last year in Edmonton. It went for 40 and 109 for 149 points. His last year in Edmonton at 27. That's when he moved on to the Kings. And then, he had a long run there for the Kings. He
played for the Blues for a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
right?
He had 4. Yeah, he had like 3 or 4 really good years for the Kings, like in his late 20s, early 30s, before he really started to kind of dip his last couple of years. Injuries. Had a couple injury-plagued seasons near the end for the Kings. And then he moved on, played 1 year for the Blues, banged up that whole year. He only played 18 games.
Yeah.
And then eventually
Rangers
sent him over to the Rangers, finished up at the Rangers, even at 36, 37, 38 years old, his last 3 years with the Rangers. He had 25 goals, 72 assists, 23 goals, 67 assists. And then his final year, 9 goals, 53 assists, 62 points in his last year there. But just an unbelievable run by Gretzky. I mean, the start of his career, I mean, is just
he
out of fantasy.
He will be forever the greatest who ever lived, and that's why he has the moniker. He's the greatest. I mean, he's the great one.
He is the great one. Yeah, he is the great one.
Yeah, and there's a 30 for 30 on him called King's Ransom, and so it really kind of goes about him actually being traded to the LA Kings and what they actually gave up to get him, and that's a really good 30 for 30. I would recommend that. But no matter what, Ovi's going to actually break this record. We know that he's going to actually break the record, but that doesn't mean he's going to be a better player than Wayne Gretzky. He may end up having more goals than Wayne Gretzky, but Wayne Gretzky will forever actually be the greatest who ever lived.
All right, let's jump into our fourth segment here, our pick a player segment. I like to give you two guys. You like to tell me which one you would prefer in a trade, either redraft or dynasty. So let's get into these two guys. Let's do Matthew Barzal, New York Islanders, and Sebastian Aho from Carolina Hurricanes. Which guy, Toast, would you prefer in this situation?
I prefer Barzal, but I don't really know. Let me explain why, I guess. And really, there's only one reason why I think I'd actually prefer him is the fact that he's dual eligible, center, right wing. But these guys are unbelievably similar. They're both 26 years old. Now, Barzal, 6'1", 190 pounds. He's a right-handed shot. AAV, even our contracts look similar. Barzal's in the first year of an 8-year, $9.15 million AAV, man. But he's never was a prolific scorer in juniors or the NHL. But he's finally starting to arrive as a point per game player, an assist heavy point per game player, right? Almost like a 3-to-1 ratio, I'd probably say, like in his career. But JT, we've talked about this many times, and I think I actually put the Islanders as actually one of my dark horses for a cup finish this year. And also Patrick Waugh actually being their head coach now really has actually helped them. They've been very, very good since he's come in. But I think his offensive numbers have actually been stunted because of that New York Islanders quote-unquote effect, right? I mean, they play a different type of game. Doesn't mean he's not as effective and not as a good player as Aho. He's got 15 goals this year, 41 assists, 56 points, and 51 games this season. So he's like on a 25 goal, 70 assist pace. So 95 pace. So here's a scouting report I kind of put together on the guy. I looked around some sites, and I watched him really closely in a couple of games this year, as well as the All-Star game. He's fast. He's maybe only second in speed to McDavid. And that's hard to beat McDavid, right? McDavid's one of the fastest players you've ever seen in your lifetime on two skates. And but this guy is really, really fast. He's got great hands. He's not going to use his body quite a bit for a 6'1" guy. That's not really his thing to actually be that front of the net presence. He's more of a deceptive, more of a quick game. Really good hands. But let's talk about Aho. So Aho's always 26 years old for Carolina. It's about the same type of build, 6 foot. 176 pounds, left-handed shot. He's only center eligible. Next season, he's going into an 8-year deal, 9.5 to 9.75, somewhere under AAV. He's going to be kicking in. And he actually has been a point per game player since he arrived in the league, JT. So Carolina, if you think about Carolina, and maybe I'll ask you, JT, like they're kind of similar to the Islanders, right? They play that defensive-minded game, good goaltending. They actually kill you between the blue lines. I wouldn't say it's a slow down game, and nevertheless, it's a tough, hard-nosed game, but he still averages about 35 goals a game, about 45 assists. So I don't know why I prefer Barzal, because honestly, the stats and everything else tell me that probably Aho, but I'm just not as in love with the Carolina team as I am this Islanders team. And I think the Islanders are starting to kind of figure it out as they started to have unbelievable goaltending for years here, and also really, really good defense, and actually play a shutdown game. They're finally starting to figure out on offense. And that's what I like about Barzal. And he's the one driving all of that. Aho's actually had some really good players around him. And he's had more than Barzal's actually had. So I like Barzal, but let me read the scouting report for Aho before I turn it over to you. Complete player, deployed in all situations. So he's basically a two-way player. He'll play that 200-foot game. He'll be on the penalty kill as well. I mean, those guys are awesome. He'll be up for a Selke Award. And I don't know if he may have actually won one by now. I have no idea. So plays the game with detail and compete. Reliable in all three zones, as I just said. elite hockey IQ. I wouldn't know that from watching the game, but he looks good. Okay. Great skater, ability to drive and escape from pressure with his quickness. We know he's extremely quick. Looks like he has another level to go with his offense. So in saying that, I see two very similar players, age-wise, money-wise, statistic-wise, and actually team-wise as well. It just comes down to if you look at those players, I think Barzal and the Islanders have a little bit more of a ceiling than Carolina actually does. And that's the only reason I actually prefer them.
Yeah, Toast, I agree with you there. I think, it feels like Carolina's slowly starting to decline, where it feels like the Islanders are on the other side. They're starting to kind of ascend. And so I agree with you. I think they're very similar guys to me, fantasy wise. I feel like it's a toss up, but I can understand why you would feel Barzal just because of the way the Islanders are finally putting together. It just seemed like forever you didn't want any of their guys unless they're bangers because they just didn't score enough goals. But like you said, they're starting to finally figure it out, starting to put some goals up. And I can definitely see taking Barzal. But yeah, they're super, super similar guys, super similar skill level. But yeah, I could go either way.
One reason before we actually wrap it up, JT, is this crazy? One reason why I actually like the Islanders is this year they started giving up a lot of shots on goal. I like that. And here's the reason why. That means you're taking some chances, man. That means you're actually getting out of your shell of actually playing such an unbelievably tight game. And you're actually starting to give up a lot of shots on goal. For some reason, I think that's good for this team. I mean, it's almost like a basketball team actually say, you know what? They always end up playing, let's say, in a professional, in the NBA, let's say they're always actually playing a 97 to 92 game, that type of thing. But you're like, okay, they're really good defensively. We all know that, but they actually have the ability to be offensive, but they just don't do it. And then all of a sudden they start scoring 112, 113 points a game. But they're giving up, let's say, instead of 90, 97, 98, they're giving up 107, 108, but they're still got that differential of like 6 or 7. That's how I feel the Islanders are now. Now that's just kind of why I'm high on them. So that's why I like Barzal.
Yep. It's time for our Toast Takes final face-off of the evening here. Toast, what do we got to kind of finish things out here tonight on Valentine's Day, our Wednesday night show on Valentine's Day? I hope you got the wife something nice. I hope Lori's doing well. I'm getting ready to head out and meet up the girl. I'm getting ready to head out to meet the girlfriend as soon as the show's over.
Yeah, I didn't get her anything, JT. So that the people that watch this may say, like, you know what, my gosh, he may end up being the worst husband who ever lived because he didn't tell his wife been married, I don't know, 22, 23 years. I'd have to go back and do the math. Happy Valentines or Valentines, whatever you want to actually call it. But nevertheless, like, hey, I always actually say, JT, it's my big motto right now. It's not what you do on Valentine's Day. It's what you do every day. Right. So, hey, I'm sitting here thinking I'm not going to go and actually buy this and this and this and this to kind of make up for, hey, what I didn't actually do here and here. I'm sure we end up going out to eat, but that's my whole philosophy. She's after about 22, 23 years of marriage, she's got used to that. Right. And I wouldn't say she's even upset about it. But then again, I hope she's not upset about it. I may be a horrible judge of character. So how about you, JT? What are you guys doing?
Actually, we went out last night because, I work in the bar and restaurant industry. So holidays is when we got to work all the time. So we actually went out last night for dinner on Tuesday. And then we ended up going to the Illinois Michigan basketball game.
Yeah.
So my girlfriend's a big Illinois basketball fan. Illini dominated. It was a great night. So we had a good time last night. We're going to maybe go hang out and play some darts or something tonight a little bit afterwards. So as soon as we finish up here, she's waiting on me to get done now. So yeah, maybe go play a little darts. Maybe I'll let her win a game for Valentine's Day. Probably not, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, you can't have that. No, hey, you get going, enjoy yourself. This has been a great as JT was saying, guys. Again, look for us on totalapexsportsbets.com. Every day we're going to post an article on X, most every day, and with our favorite 2 or 3 game slates, we'll actually write an article. Then we'll actually follow up with JT's parlay of the day and Toast takes of the day and our favorite bets that kind of stem from that article and what we put together. And again, tonight, I think I'm a winner. It actually worked out. I think I'm going to go ahead and win that 2-leg parlay I put together, but I think a lot of those bets are actually coming around as well. So Thanks for tuning in, and make sure to smash that like button on the YouTube channel on the Stew with JT Brew. We really need to get a whole lot of traffic because I think we're actually doing it. We got a pretty good show. We got a pretty good thing going on. 20 episodes. Let's go ahead and see if we can do 20 more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go to Total Apex Sports for just any news that's going on in the sports world. Total Apex Sports Bets is where you can find our betting NHL column. Also, start putting out some as we closer to football season. We'll start putting on some bets when football comes around and all that. I'll have my college bets as I do a college bet show on. Actually, during college football season, not hockey season, I actually do a college bet show on the Stew with JT Brew on Wednesdays. So you'll have to check that out. And then also Total Apex Sports Fantasy. They have all their fantasy content on there. So all three of those websites, you can go check out different stuff. Look for them. Like I said, like and subscribe to them, their YouTube channel, them on X. You can also check us out. Now, like we said, at the Stew with JT Brew, we'll have our stuff up. We'll have the podcast up here shortly, so you guys can download that and listen to that here in the future. Share it with all your friends. So we appreciate everybody. Happy Valentine's Day for Bryan Toast Clark. I'm Justin Taylor. Thanks for joining us here on the Stew with JT Brew on the NHL Around the Ice segment. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you later.